Rivalry between India and Pakistan is unbeatable. We've always said it is the mother, father, grandmother, grandfather of all games and contests. I mean, it goes a long way back because, there was a lot of time when India and Pakistan didn't play each other, and then it started in 78, after a long gap. And that's what I remember because that first tour was, watched by millions, and Pakistan beat India in that series. And ever since then, there was a lot of cricket being played. In Australia, when we beat Pakistan in the World Championship final, that was something that was a terrific contest. And India went on to win that tournament. Then came 85, the very next year, one of the greatest matches in, one-day cricket, where we were bowled out straight after that, winning that World Championship for 125, where Imran bowled an outstanding spell. I think he took a 6-4. And as you would have it, Pakistan were bowled out for 86, so which was, unbelievable. But following that, the very next year, 1986, it was Pakistan's turn, to tilt the scales. Javed hitting a last ball 6, was in a phenomenal game. And I remember standing at long on, and the dressing room was right behind me. Moment I saw that ball hit the bat, I knew it was 6. I just turned around and went straight into the dressing room. Didn't bother, hanging out there even for a minute. And, then you cast your mind back to another terrific game in Bangalore, India-Pakistan, where, there were heated words being exchanged, and India went on to win that contest. Then Sachin's terrific innings at the Centurion in South Africa to help India win that game. Then, of course, the two clashed in 2007 twice, one in a shootout earlier, which India won, and then the final in, again, a close contest. And all these games I'm talking about, no India-Pakistan game is over till it's finally over. Then again, 2011, it's one of the most tense games I've covered. It was in Mohali, and the prime ministers of both the countries were watching the game. And, it was, you could actually feel the tension, in that game. And again, a close contest with India won, and then India went on to win the World Cup. Then we played them in 2015, again in Adelaide, the first game in Australia, and won that game. And then it carried on. India had success against them all the way. 2019, 2000, and some Asia Cup games. India had the upper hand, right through for a couple of decades. Till 2021, where Pakistan finally, hammered India in one of the World Cup games. And then ever since then, they've run India close. So, come what may, this World Cup is going to be another very tight contest.
Tell us about the first ever India versus Pakistan match you ever saw.
I think it was 78. First time when India went to Pakistan, I think after 1957, if I'm not mistaken, 56, 57. So, after a long, long time, India went to Pakistan. I think Mushtaq led Pakistan and Bishan led India. And there were full houses, and the hospitality extended to the Indian team was unbelievable. And Pakistan won that series. So that's the first time, I saw what India-Pakistan cricket can be like.
Talk to me about your first ever game against Pakistan.
I'm trying to recollect. It was the 80s, early 80s. And I remember I went on that tour where we got hammered. We lost 4-0, but I was 19 years of age, and I was asked to open the batting. I'd played in Lahore, then I'd split my webbing, and I was asked to open the batting in the final test in Karachi. So I opened with Sunny Gavaskar, and I got my first test 100 there. Never looked back. It was Imran, Sarfraz, Abdul Qadir. And I always say that, it had the best 4-pronged attack you would ever imagine. So people ask me why. You played the West Indies too later. Why do you say that attack? I said, no, it had Imran, it had Sarfraz, and it had the two empires when you play at home.
What was some of the best moments and the most fired up moments?
I think there's no India-Pakistan game that goes, without something happening. Most of the games, there's always needle, just the heat on that given day because of the occasion, it starts showing on the players at times. And, you'll have some words being exchanged or, things that can happen. And it's consistently consistent, let me tell you that. So expect that even in Melbourne.
India has been very consistent beating Pakistan in World Cups up until last year in 2021 in the UAE. For the very first time, Pakistan beat the Indian cricket team. What was the impact of such a loss?
It was crucial because it put India out of the World Cup. What it meant was India had to beat Pakistan, but it put a lot of pressure on India. And so New Zealand beat India in that next game, and then it put them out. So, and similarly in the Asia Cup recently, India won the first game, and then Pakistan beat India in the second game to put India out of the Asia Cup. So it's, the rivalry has been very good, but I would say in the last, like you mentioned, last 2 or 3 years, the gap between the two sides is much closer now.
And lastly, I mean, what was it different in terms of playing against Pakistan versus coaching India while playing Pakistan?
Playing Pakistan always was great fun. I thought I became twice the player. I eventually became because of the cricket I played against Pakistan. Because, it was fun. I would have been lesser off had we not played Pakistan at that time, because they had some world-class players. The competition was always tough. It brought the best out of both teams, and you benefited from that as an individual and as a player. As a coach, it was similar. In fact, the pressure was more. And I must have, as a coach, must have had about 10 games against them, 8 or 10 games. Luckily I was on the winning side on 8 or 9 and then lost the last one. But again, very tense, and